Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening everyone. First tonight, Tasmanians are feeling the rising cost of living worse than the average Australian, with food and fuel on the up. Power prices are set to shock too. The state government is being urged to tackle the issue head on.
Delivering his State of the State address, the Premier was bullish on the Tasmanian economy, glowing about our growing exports sector and bustling labour market.
And the hallmark of our government has been strong, disciplined budget management and making the decisions necessary to strengthen Tasmania's future.
But wary too with yesterday's CPI figures, a reality check. Our inflation 0.4% higher than the national rate, transport costs rising quickest, and shoppers are being hit at the hip pocket.
There are significant global factors driving up the costs of everything to do with making and distributing food and grocery products, and we're yet to see the peak of that, unfortunately.
Labor says if the Premier is serious about cost of living, then he can't push back Parliament from its planned August 9 return.
Labor has got a bill on the table in the Parliament that would cap electricity prices for this financial year to 2.5% and going forward.
Hoping to halt a planned 11% increase. No decision has been made on whether Parliament will be prorogued. There's also bad news for homeowners, with PropTrack expecting a market crash. From its June peak, the value of the average Hobart home is expected to drop nearly 10% by the end of next year.
Housing prices have been increasing quite significantly over past years. A drop or a slight drop, then of course that also provides opportunity.
The team behind a new Derwent housing development say they've planned for fluctuations.
Our view is around market sentiment. I think when we see a flattening of the RBA's position on interest rates, the investor market will obviously answer the call, followed by homeowners.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Our road toll has now exceeded all of last year after a 22-year-old woman died when she crashed on Launceston's southern outlet last night. Police are at a loss to explain how the driver lost control of the vehicle, which was travelling on a straight section of road.
Flashing lights illuminate a shocking road statistic. A 22-year-old woman from Hadsburn is fatality number 36 on our roads in 2022, a figure eclipsing all of last year.
It's very concerning. We are extremely committed to making the roads safer.
Police say her Holden Commodore was travelling uphill on the southern outlet when she crashed into the rock embankment. Speed is a major factor being investigated. The limit here is 90.
That road is very straight. I'd say that's as good a bit of road as you'll ever see.
Alcohol and drugs are also being investigated. Luckily, there was no one else in the car.
A tragedy in our community, a tragedy for this young lady's family.
Police say they're only part of the solution when it comes to preventing fatal crashes. They need the community's help as well.
Please report poor driver behaviour to Tasmania Police. Call it out yourself.
Meanwhile, a motorcyclist is lucky to be alive after crashing near the intersection of Church and Freeman Streets in Kingston. He was taken to the Royal Hobart Hospital for treatment. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
A 34-year-old man has been caught behind the wheel almost 6 times over the legal limit. He has since been charged with drink driving offences following a minor crash on Pass Road in Cambridge shortly after 10 o'clock this morning. Tasmania Police has condemned the man's actions, saying the implications could have been catastrophic. And a woman has received serious leg injuries after being hit by a bus in Hobart CBD. Emergency services were called to the scene at the corner of Collins and Campbell Streets around 12:30 this afternoon. She received medical treatment at the scene and was then taken to the Royal Hobart Hospital. Police are calling for any information from witnesses about the incident. Nurses at another Tasmanian hospital have walked off the job, continuing strike action. For 15 minutes, workers rallied out the front of Hobart's repatriation hospital, calling for the state government to address the statewide staffing crisis.
The time to sit down and talk is probably past. What we actually want now is solutions, and for the government to meet their obligations to our members in regards to safe staffing.
As a fallout of that, nurses becoming sick, they can't complete the whole week of work because by the time they've done a few shifts, they've exhausted.
The union says it's had no contact from the state government after yesterday's strike at the Royal. Tasmania's grim COVID death toll continues to climb in the face of rising infections. 4 more lives were sadly claimed by the virus overnight, with 1,175 new cases recorded. Meanwhile, in the state's hospitals, 4 people are receiving treatment in ICU. The Tasmanian mother who's couch surfing is fed up with the state's services, feeling she's been ignored for years. It comes as new data uncovers a worrying increase in the proportion of young people experiencing homelessness for the first time.
5 months pregnant and left without a house to bring home her newborn.
I definitely don't want to see myself or my children out on the streets because we don't have a roof over our heads.
Having grown up in the foster care system, Jacinta Short is desperate for her family to have a permanent roof over their head.
Growing up the way that I did, I know what I want for my child, and that is currently I don't have that and I'm not able to give that to him.
The 28-year-old has been a priority applicant on the social housing register for 3 years now.
Since that time, she's been bounced around through a revolving door of housing ministers. It's not a huge ask from a Tasmanian in desperate need.
A new Mission Australia report focused on young community members has detailed the plight of those plunged into homelessness for the first time during the pandemic.
We know that when young people become homeless at a young age, they're more likely to re-enter the system.
3 in 5 of those respondents sleeping rough were female.
1 in 2 said that it wasn't a safe space for them to be and they didn't feel comfortable.
There are thousands of people waiting for the life-changing phone call. But the government is adamant its new housing body will provide targeted support to those struggling.
We don't want anybody left behind. Going forward, yes, we do have a plan for the Housing Authority and that will have a job to roll out those 10,000 homes over the next 10 years.
Enough is enough. There are people that need help.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
The Launceston Barbers Mental Health Initiative has proven a cut above the rest, winning the popular vote at this year's National Men's Health Awards. The Barbers for Life project giving local barbers the tools needed to spot signs of mental illness and encouraging their regular clients to spark up a conversation about their well-being. The program's organisers say they're thrilled with winning the People's Choice Award and will now look at ways to expand the program in the future.
Ariane Titmus is seen as Tasmania's top prospect, while a close eye is also being cast on our cyclists. All up, 16 local athletes are competing at the Games, led by our champion kookaburra, Eddie Ockenden. Having so often flown the flag for Tasmania on the world stage, Eddie Ockenden will soon fly it for the entire country.
He's a ripper for our sport.
3 golds are already under his belt. History would suggest a 4th is a shoo-in, but the humble Hobartian's legacy is beyond the medals around his neck.
All the kids in our hockey community look up to this guy.
You could argue Josh Belts does too, a Commonwealth Games debutant in Birmingham who has overcome setbacks to be there.
He's a guy that suffered injury along the way, adversity along the way as a result, but he stepped up and now he's very much part of that group.
There are 16 Tasmanians competing over the next fortnight. Our speed team on the track boasts Stuart McSwain, Jacob Despard and Jack Hale. Cricket makes its return. Nicola Carey will wield the willow. In the diving, Emily Maney debuts after qualifying at the Australian Diving Championships. Rebecca Van Ash, our dual gold medal winning jackaroo, will try to steamroll the hot favourite English. But how could you go past our Tokyo hero Ariane Titmus when talking about gold?
She's going to lead the way in the pool.
Para swimmer Jacob Templeton will dive in as well. Matthew Gilmore has helped guide our 3-pronged attack on 2 wheels. 21-year-old Josh Duffy is a specialist starter in the team pursuit.
He's explosive, he's powerful, and that's what's required in that position.
Georgia Baker is back for her 2nd Commonwealth Games. She's fit and well, although COVID's caused chaos for some of her teammates, while we'll ride every bump with mountain biker Sam Fox.
Sam has come along in leaps and bounds, particularly in the last 2 years. He's also going to be riding the road race.
Erica Burley and Hayden Armstrong race in the para-triathlon, but our first medal chance is Jake Birtwistle, who had this message of support from his old school, Riverside Primary.
This year they've been a little bit more settled in their training. They've been able to get overseas and have some international competition.
And from tomorrow, we'll ride every high and low from the comfort of home. North Hobart's been decimated by injuries, headlined by Hugh Williams out with a broken jaw. The D's managed to beat Glenorchy without an interchange bench in the second half last week and even dropped to 17 fit men at one stage.
It was great to win, but it was the stuff that sort of unfolded during the day, that no bench and then 17, and yeah, it was pretty challenging.
While Lauderdale has clarified comments about the state of its home ground last week after copping some backlash.
In no way were we saying that we didn't want to play there. We were more than happy to play there. It's our home ground, and at the end of the day, there's 4 posts at either end, so we weren't advocating for it to be moved. We were more than happy to play there, but the reality was it wasn't in great condition.
Lauderdale is back on the ground this weekend, hosting Glenorchy. The Hurricanes have signed their first import for the women's Big Bash season. Lizelle Lee will bat in the top order, moving over from the Melbourne Stars and Renegades. The South African has 53 WBBL games under her belt.
Good evening. Hobart, Launceston and Devonport all 13 degrees today, and Burnie 12. 14 was the high at St Helens as conditions cooled a little. Smithton and the Islands 13. Lowhead, Friendly Beaches, Grove, Bushy Park and Strawn 12. Lyawini a max of 3. A few showers over the west and far south as low cloud gathered today there. Just a partly cloudy day elsewhere. High cloud over southern parts of Victoria evident. Southern WA picked up some cloud as well. Most of the nation though cloud free. Tomorrow a large high is the dominant feature over the mainland, a cold front and trough well back in the picture. The winds cool southwesterlies at 25 knots and to 30 knots over the east and south, swells rising in western waters. We have a strong wind warning, that's for waters between St Helens Point and Low Rocky Point. A bushwalkers alert for the western and central plateau, snow as low as 450 metres. You may have noticed in the news already the Bureau have issued a bit of a warning that it's going to be a very cold weekend. Hobart, a possible early shower tomorrow though, 11 degrees, 11 for Huonville, Campania becoming cloudy and 11 degrees. Cold weather also in the north, -1 for Launceston, 12 the top tomorrow, 12 for Devonport, Georgetown 12. Burnie expecting a high of 11 degrees. Partly cloudy there, but showers for Strawn easing later, 11 the high and 12 the top for Wynyard. And in the east, St Helens partly cloudy, 12, 11 the top for Swansea and also Port Arthur. On Saturday, mostly fine after another cold start, a shower possible over the west, a few showers developing over the west and northwest on Sunday and later for other areas. And on Monday, showers again, mainly over the north, central and western regions. Showers in Perth tomorrow, partly cloudy weather for Adelaide, a sunny 13 in Melbourne, -3 to kick things off in Canberra, a shower or 2 in Sydney, a sunny 22 in Brisbane. Cloudy in Hobart, 7 degrees at the moment, 6 in Launceston, partly cloudy in Devonport and 7. I guess for you, Kim, it'll be the flannelette pyjamas and fluffy slippers.
You have got me sorted. Thank you very much, Murph. That is all your news for this evening. We'll be back later with updates, but for now, it's good night.